Hi, I'm Greg with the Ashcraft firm, and I do estate planning law, and I want to talk to you today about choosing a guardian. And I know it's hard to think about somebody else raising your kids. I've got 4 kids myself. But if you don't do this planning and think of somebody who's the next best thing to you raising your kids, then there's a big hairy court process that happens. So there's really 2 bad situations that can happen if you haven't thought through all of this yourself. The first would be that nobody steps up to be guardian of your children, which would be awful. You have to have a judge that comes in and chooses the right person to be the parent for your children. The second, a little bit less worse, but still bad, is that there could be a lot of people that come up and try to be guardian of your kid. And if that's the case, then there could be a legal battle that ensues, and it'll eat up a lot of the money that you have left for your children, and they need that money to be raised. So instead of going through that lengthy court process, you can choose a guardian yourself now, so none of that happens. Now, I've written up here, or my assistant has written up here. If you've seen any of my other videos, this is a lot better handwriting than usual. So anyway, we've written up here a bunch of different subjects that you need to consider when you're choosing a guardian. So the first subject here is familiarity. If you're choosing a guardian for your kid, you want to make sure that your children know that guardian really well and that they enjoy each other's company and things like that. The second thing that you need to consider is their parenting style. Do they have the same religious beliefs as you? Do they have the same authority style as you do when you're raising your kids? Those are things that are important that go into how a guardian is a guardian. And then also we need to talk about location. So if you think about your children, they've already lost you, and so their world is already spiraling out of control. We probably don't want to move them across country to live with the guardian that you've chosen. So it's good to pick somebody who's close by. The next thing on the list here, age and health. And I mean not just the age of your child, but also the age of the guardian and the health of your guardian. So if you have a toddler, for instance, and you think that the best guardian for them might be your parents, you need to think about, do they have the energy to actually parent your toddler the way that you'd want them to be parented? And then also, you don't want them your children going to live with a guardian who's ill. They just lost you. They just lost both their parents. Now they go live with a guardian who could fall ill. You don't want them to have a second loss. That would just be devastating for your kids. So that's another consideration that you're going to think about as you're going through who's going to be guardian. And then we also want to talk about emotional preparedness. Now you may think, like let's say that you have older children and you think, well, they would be the best person for the job. Do they have kids? Are they ready to raise a kid? Are they ready to give up single life? And are they like pursuing their careers and going through trying to get their education taken care of? How would that impact both your guardian and your child, your minor child? Anyway, that's another thing that you need to consider. So what you want to do, and before we get to this last subject of money, you want to talk to that potential guardian. You need to talk them through it and tell them what they might have to do on your behalf if you can't be guardian of your own child. It's really not a good idea to list guardians and then not prepare them for this possible scenario of taking their children. Also, you want to look at money, but they don't have to be, the guardian does not have to be the one that's in charge of the money. So a lot of times this really fouls up somebody when they're thinking of the right person for all of these characteristics is not always the right person to take care of the money. And that's because the one tucking them in at night doesn't have to be the one that's investing the money. But it is a good idea, if you are going to select two different people, that they work well as a team. So let's say, for instance, that you think your oldest brother would be great at taking care of the money, and your sister would be a great guardian. So that person, your sister, would be tucking them in at night, and your oldest brother would be taking care of the money. Do your oldest brother and your sister get along? Are they going to be a great team together? That's a really important part of selecting who takes care of the money and who's the guardian. I usually recommend making it a team effort because it's usually better, but sometimes in certain situations the same person taking care of the money is also going to be the guardian. So it's really, these are tough questions, and it's not easy to think about somebody else raising your children, but it's something that you need to think about now. And if you need to talk to somebody about that, we're here. We are counselors at law more than attorneys at law, and we can talk you through these questions as you're selecting a guardian. Thanks so much for watching.